Namaskar. Welcome to Assam Election Watch. Let me begin with a question. Are you deciding your vote or is someone deciding it for you? Because today, elections are not fought only on the ground, they are fought in the newsrooms, studios, and on your phone screens. In Assam, a growing concern is emerging. Media is not just informing voters, it may be influencing them through selective narratives. To discuss this, I am joined by Ms Nandini Raj, who is the communication manager of ADR and worked with ADR for more than 7 years. So I welcome Nandini ji to this discussion.
Thank you, Arabji, for having me.
Nandini ji, media is supposed to inform, but today it often does something more powerful. It decides what to see, it decides what you don't see, and slowly it decides what you think matters. Nandini, Nandini ji, let me ask you: has media in elections shifted from being an information platform to an influence mechanism? No problem.
So, media has been influencing elections since ages. Recognized political parties have been allowed to freely use state owned television and radio during polls since the 1998 Lok Sabha elections. What we need to understand is how uncontrolled the influence of media is now. To understand this, we need to bifurcate the age of media into two: media before social media and media after social media. Traditional media, before social media, reigned the game of influence and enjoyed the advertisements received from the political parties. This has now changed. We now have influences whom political parties use for micro targeting and connecting with other target audience.
Okay, so the real battlefield of election is no longer just political. It is informational. Am I correct?
the the better term would be infotainment, because now it's combination of information plus entertainment. Now we see that all sorts of information we see in form of memes. So meme marketing has gained a lot of reputation in political campaigns.
Interesting. That is interesting. Let's talk about something called paid news. Across India and even in Assam, there have been cases where advertisement appear as news. Political messaging is disguised as reporting. The voter reads it as fact, but in many actually be promotion. How serious is the problem? How serious is the problem of this paid news? And more importantly, how can a voter even detect that kind of paid news?
So gradually, people are becoming aware of the PR culture. More workshops on how to differentiate between fake news, paid news, and real news should be given to voters. ADR state partners organize such workshops so that voters are informed voters instead of influenced voters. There are many fact checkers now, such as Factly, Alt News, etc., which fact check the fake news on media platforms. So we need to take key initiatives or to educate the voters when it comes to to differentiate between misinformation, disinformation, fake news, paid news. We need to educate the voters so that they are informed voters rather than influenced ones. Yeah.
Okay, let us observe what is happening right now in Assam. Rallies are everywhere in the news. Speeches dominate headlines. But how often do you see discussions on criminal cases of candidates, financial background of MLAs, 80% raise in assets of recontesting MLAs as per the ADR findings? Why are these not headline debates? Is this an editorial gap or a deliberate silence? It was discussed in the past elections, but this is not discussed at all this time.
Media houses touch these topics, but these headlines don't dominate. To explain this, I would like to talk about Assam Survey Report 2018. This was a survey undertaken by ADR. Actually, ADR conducted the survey across India. This survey was titled Voters' Priorities and Performance of Government on Governance Issues. This was conducted in 2018, and I would just like to focus on Assam state. From the Assam Survey Report 2018, I have just taken out the voting behavior chart. I would like you to focus on the last statistics. That's why do you think people vote for candidate with a criminal record? Voters don't know about the criminal record. So 63% of the respondents said no, that voters do know about the candidate's criminal record, yet they go ahead and vote for such candidates. And 37% of them said yes, that's the reason that voters don't know about the criminal record. That is why they go ahead and vote for candidates with criminal record. Voters know that the candidates have criminal cases against them, so these are not going to catch the eyes of the voters, and it's not going to get them the TRP. It's not this topic doesn't interest the voters that much. So very few media houses only highlight the issue of criminality of politics, and rest of them just touch the topic, but it is not highlighted that much. Yeah.
Okay, so earlier influence came from institutions. So various institutions decide and influences the voters. Today, it comes from your own phone and you don't even realize it. Another issue, who gets seen, who remains invisible. In Assam, larger parties dominate coverage. Smaller voices struggle for space. So elections become a contest of visibility, not a contest of ideas. Can democracy remain fair if visibility itself is unequal? The visibility is not equal for all. Bigger players have bigger visibility, and the smaller players have very small visibility.
So it has never been a level playing field for opposition parties, be it any time in history. However, social media has offered them some relief. Now they can directly communicate to the audience. Hence, major political parties have social media handles on several social media platforms. To highlight the amount of money which political parties spend on social media, I would like to display few statistics. So this is party-wise share of virtual or social media campaign expenses of the total election expenditure for the general elections 2024. And as you can see, the total expenses is everything is in crore. And as you can see, BJP has the highest total expenses. And when it comes to social media, that is the purple one, which you can see, the virtual social media campaign expenses, it's 187 crores, and which is also the highest amongst all the political parties. And then INC spends about 47 crores. So this is the statistics. And then there is another one of the rest of the political parties. And this is another one. Yeah. These also highlight some of the regional parties.
Okay, so it means that in today's elections, visibility is power, and visibility and invisibility is defeat. So let us bring everything together. If news can be influenced, narrative can be shaped, visibility can be controlled, then the real question is, are voters truly deciding? Or are decisions being shaped for them? Nandini ji, what should a responsible voter do in this situation?
So we live in the era of information overload. We have misinformation, disinformation, and real information floating all across us. It is important for voters to learn how to differentiate between all these kinds of information. It should be our responsibility now to make sure all the news we consume and give importance to is factually correct. A voter can visit ADR's MyNeta platform. It's an open data repository containing background details of the contesting candidates and be an informed voter instead of influenced voter. It is our duty to tell voters not to vote on the basis of caste, creed, community, or religion or region.
Okay. So, as we conclude, let us reflect on one thing. Media is powerful, but it must be responsible. And voters are free, but they must be aware. Because in the end, the biggest threat to democracy is not misinformation. It is information that appears truthful but is selectively presented. So before you vote, ask yourself, what am I being told? What am I not being told? And why? If the media decides what you see, are you really deciding your vote? Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nandini ji, for coming in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me, Aricha.